Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another short hunter video involving more nerfs to the class. We all knew it was coming unfortunately, but the nerfs do seem a little premature and not very well thought out. So in this video, we will cover what has all been nerfed recently and how it impacts melee hunters, and what I personally think should have changed for the class as a whole. After that, I will cover what changes these nerfs make to gearing, and what spec is now the best. So starting with the changes to the Hunter class recently, we of course had the normalization of Raptor Strike when the melee specialist rune is active. Nothing too major here, but it did drop our overall DPS very slightly. The next change to the class, which will come into effect on February 27th with the new lockout, is the removal of the 30% damage bonus to Raptor Strike from the dual wield specialization rune when you had two weapons of the same type equipped. So what does this nerf mean for melee hunters starting next week? Well, for the Beast Mastery spec, it comes out to a reduction in overall damage of about 10%, whereas deep survival builds will see roughly an 11 to 12% reduction in overall damage. In my opinion, Blizzard should have either just removed the limitation of requiring two weapons of the same type to allow further gearing options, or reduce the 30% damage bonus of Raptor Strike down to the 10 to 15% range. While the nerf doesn't completely cripple melee hunters and there's no reason to doom about it, it is unfortunate to see. Sure, for nearly every single percentile, melee hunters are ahead by a small margin, but in the 100th and 99th percentile, melee hunters are not even at the top. With that said, ranged hunters are nearly dead last in every single percentile and could have used some sort of buff at this point, but we will have to wait and see how Blizzard handles ranged hunters at a later date now. Now that we know what the nerfs have done to us as a hunter class, let's take a look at what this means for the gearing and talent choices. Starting with the gear, the overall gear set is nearly the same with a few small changes. WoW Sims is constantly being updated and kept up to date, so I'd like to give a quick shout out to Rain for being very receptive and quick to update and fix things as necessary. The main hand and offhand fist weapons are still going to be BIS for weapons. And no, the two-handed melee with Thermoplug's Rocket Cleaver is not going to be BIS by any means, and it's quite far behind dual wielding. The first change is that Machinist Gloves are now BIS instead of Bonk Maestro's handguards by a small amount on mechanical bosses, but Bonk Maestros will remain BIS for the first two bosses. And the 3-piece male gear set with Electromantic Chainmail is now BIS instead of using just the legs and boots with Blazewind Breastplate. For the talent side of things, Deep Beast Mastery 3100 is the go-to best spec now for all melee hunters, with the 2407 Beast Mastery Survival Hybrid build being the next best option. Deep Survival 0031 is now the worst of the three talent builds due to the loss of 30% increased Raptor Strike damage, making your pet more valuable than before. For the runes, you will want to use Heart of the Lion, Beast Mastery, Melee Specialist, Flanking Strikes, and Dual Wield Specialization. However, if you have a second hunter in your raid team, you will no longer want to use Lone Wolf, but instead use Master Marksman. As for enchants, Dismantle has been fixed now, so you will definitely want to use this enchant instead of the +3 weapon damage. And that is everything we needed to cover regarding the latest nerfs to hunters and what has all changed for us as a result. Luckily, melee hunters will still be perfectly viable and not a completely dead class. If you found this video helpful, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can find a link to both my Twitch and Discord down below in the video description, so if you haven't already, feel free to join the Discord to stay up to date with all the latest information. I will be working on a full updated melee hunter guide now that the latest round of nerfs have gone out, and that will include absolutely everything you need to know from gearing to talents to rotation and consumables, so make sure you stay tuned and keep an eye out for that video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.